This is Finn. Finn's a 3.5-year-old Irish wolfhound. What are you doing? He's 200 pounds. That's a good boy, Finny Pooh. Well, welcome to episode 4. How many of you guys do this? It's 35 degrees out, sunny, but you don't want to freeze while you're working. We're going to do these brake calipers today. So what I like to do, turn on our blast heater, and then when I'm sitting here, I have nice, toasty, warm air blowing on me. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to replace these calipers. And boom, magically that's done. And that's done. So at this point, we've got 4 new wheel cylinders and 2 calipers and all new brake hoses. So the lines all look good, other than the couple outside ones I've replaced. So I think that I'll just bleed these brakes now and then put the wheels back on, go for a drive, make sure they're good. Or what I probably should do is go to the scrapyard where the other GMC is. I've talked to the guy there, and get the CV axles, because our boots on these are off, which is not good, and the other one's got a torn boot. The CV axles on the other motorhome looked pretty good in terms of boots. So since I'm this, why put the wheels on and then take them back off again? It's always one more delay and one more delay to keep you from that next test drive. But it'd be a whole lot of extra work. In fact, I'd have to take the things off the jack stands and then jack it back up again. So as much as I don't want to, tomorrow's, I've got another day off. It's going to be rainy, 80%, but I guess I'm going to go out to the junkyard and grab those axles, and I was going to get the carburetor, and I'm going to get one rear drum with its bearings and everything for a spare kit. So when I'm driving down the road, if I ever have a problem, I think I'm going to make my spare kit up there. That's where I'll have various belts and hoses and stuff like that. Anyway, so I guess this is it for today. I'm going to go to my regular work, and then we're going to get up in the morning and go to the junkyard. Okay, so today went back to the junkyard and got brake drum, carburetor, CV axles. These have nice, perfect boots. They're just dirty. I'll clean them up and paint them, make these look good. That's a spare. And that's a spare. Maybe I can send one to be rebuilt. But I'll probably clean that off and throw it on there to see what happens, because I was told that the engine ran like a top when they drove it in there. So at some point I'll come back and get the motor and transmission and keep that when that is pulled out, but we're not in a rush for that now. So by the way, if you want to take out your axle shafts, you loosen these 6-bolt here. I'm using an 11mm or 7/16 12-point socket. We're going to remove the oil filter, because that's going to be in our way, and we're going to loosen this up, and this just drops right out. The oil filter has to be out of the way. And then we're going to take the nut off here, which is going to have a cotter pin in there, and I'll show that. And we're just going to knock that axle out. It just drops right out. You have to turn this to the right, the steering wheel to the right. So let's do that. All right, so this is a 1.5 inches. Comes out of there. I'll take that off of there. So 1.5 inches ratchet. So let's take this off. Here we go. Okay, I've got my 1.5-inch bolt off. I've got this turned all the way to the right. You can see the problem with the boot there. Inside boot's good, but so we don't need that because you got a good one. So now let's take this last bolt off here. See if we can do this. This is pretty boring. And I actually show the actual repairing. I really just need to kind of explain it, but I guess you can see what happens here. Let's get this out of the way. You have no oil dripping out of the, once you remove the filter. I mean, the filter had oil in it, but by the way, this motor, I definitely believe was rebuilt at some point. It's all painted. All right, so that's off of there. Let's pull this off, drop this down, shove this way, maybe. And now let's try knocking out the shaft there and see what happens. Okay, so we have to actually had to jack this up so that axle would drop down there. So now that is down there. We're going to put our new axle in, reverse the process. So, but this is a important note. When I did it in the junkyard, I was actually sitting on the tire, so I didn't notice this. But yeah, this has to be up in the air. Okay, so this side really just the band came off. And you notice it really when you go like this. That's when you run into the problem, when you're going around corners and that happens. So what I need to do is clean this all up really good and find somebody with a banding tool and repack that with grease, and this can be my spare. Meanwhile, and we got this one on that, you know, it wasn't all covered with grease, and the band's all good, and the boot's good there, and the boot's good on the inside. We've got a new, you don't have to take my word for it because I'm not getting on this wet ground anymore. There's a new Napa Gold oil filter in there, since the oil filter has to come out of the way. And we'll do an oil change. But so that side is done and ready to have the wheel put back on. And tomorrow, when it's not all crappy and rainy, we will do the other side. Let's go inside here and see if we got any water coming down our wall. So this is dry, which is fantastic because that's where the water was coming in before. So I'm very happy about that. This is, we put that tape on that seam, and from what I saw on videos and what I talked about people, is that seam is the cause of 90% of the leaks in here. So that's awesome. I mean, last time it was raining, there's just water dripping down there, which was hitting down there. So once I replace this wood and put it back together, that's great. This side, on the other hand, has not been done yet. I'm not going to peel this back right now because I want to use this as a template. But that's good. So we've got our, see if you can see it up there. You can really see it. You've got that strip, you can kind of see up there, that's our die-core tape. So that's working. That's fantastic. All right, next morning, I'm gonna do this other side. I thought I was gonna crawl under here, but here's what I'm doing. First of all, let's spin this around. 180 degrees. What I'm doing is I got my hatch open. I got nice warm toasty air blowing up on me. As you can see down here, I can access 1, 2, 3. We've already got these 3 out, so this is a little nicer. Anytime I don't have to get under something, it's better. So, getting this axle off. Okay, on this side you must remove the shock too to pull this out apparently. This must have been off at the junkyard. So remove shock. And you also want to remove this from here. So give that space to drop down. There we go, we got this out. Let's put the other one in. Okay, I feel like it's gonna be all downhill from here today. This was the biggest pain in the butt. So we got this bad CV axle out of there. Really, the axle's fine, the boot's bad, but that would go bad. And now have our nice, not torn CV axle. So now we're going to change the oil, leave these brakes, put on the wheels, and go for a drive. Well, we're back on the road here. We're going to go drive around the neighborhood. But they're still very squishy, so we got to get some air out of those brakes. But we now know that they're all functioning, and of course if I pump them up a couple times, they feel pretty good. So we know that it goes 25 miles an hour. So at 25 miles an hour to get to Delfest, which is about 200 and something miles, it'll just take us 10 hours. I think we're going to be doing better than that. I noticed there was a couple tires that need to be replaced, and whoops, got to get used to driving this thing. And we'll replace those tires. We've got some, I got it. All right, it's noisy because we've got no floor in the back. Smooth. All right, well, there you have it. We've gotten our goal for the day. It's running. Tomorrow I'm going to go out and start doing some electrical stuff. I noticed that the hot wire to the battery is all screwy and a bunch of other stuff, and I'll probably align the steering wheel. It's not pulling, but the steering wheel is slightly off center. That drives me nuts. So that's it.